Hey everybody, it's Ron from Pick Dawgz, and this is Ron's Bank Shot Breakdown. We're going to go over 5 college basketball games for Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. Now, if you like what you see, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to put your college basketball picks in the comments section below. And if you're looking for my best bets, the games I love the most in college hoops and other sports, you can find those at the premium picks tab at pickdawgz.com. There's also a link in the description. Alrighty, here we go. Here are the games for Tuesday in college hoops. First up, we have Vanderbilt and Florida. This one is 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on the SEC Network. Now, on Saturday, we faded Florida. We took Tennessee, laid the points, and that was not a very popular selection. A lot of people really liked Florida in that game, and it makes sense when you look at how well the Gators have played this year. But for me, it was just such a great spot for Tennessee. A revenge game, looked like a great bounce-back spot. And, Tennessee earned the revenge blowout win, even without 2 of their top contributors and really star players in the starting lineup. They were a late scratch with about an hour to game time. So, I think the line crashed to almost a pick 'em. I mean, Tennessee, I think, was just a slight favorite after opening around that 4.5, 5-point range. They still won the game in blowout fashion. And now you look on the other side, Vanderbilt's coming off a blowout loss to Oklahoma themselves. I mean, 97-67, the final score. That was after the upset win over Kentucky. So it goes to show you, you can't really, put too much weight into what you see in recent games. This is the SEC. A lot of these teams are very talented. They're going to kind of trade blows here and there. There's not too many Auburns out there that have been able to kind of run the table so far in conference play or in overall this season. Really all these teams have taken a loss here or there. For me in this one, we're getting a lot of points for Vanderbilt. I think it's too many points. I think Florida bounces back from their loss. I think the Gators pick up a much-needed win at home here. But I still think this is too many points against a Vanderbilt team that does a good job of taking care of the ball, forcing turnovers, forcing tough shots. Their offense has improved in conference play. I think they put that ugly game against Oklahoma behind them, and I think they cover the number in this game at the very least. So give me the points with the Commodores in this one. Next up, we'll go to the Big Ten as Purdue takes on Iowa. This one is 7 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on Peacock. Now, Iowa does have a strong home court advantage, but I don't like this matchup for them, especially on the defensive side. Now, I do think Iowa's defense is better than what we've seen. They're ranked right now 300th in effective field goal percentage and 342nd in two-point defense, but I think they're forcing tougher shots than what the numbers on paper may suggest. The problem is, though, they've still really struggled defending the paint and, two-point field goals in general. Like I said, 342nd in two-point defense. They give up about 57% of their points via two-point field goals. It's the 8th most in the country. That's really bad news going up against Purdue right now. At the beginning of the season, Purdue is taking many more threes than they are now. They have a great backcourt. Fletcher Lawyer, Braden Smith. These are guys that can shoot a ton of threes, make them at a good rate. But now, as we've gotten into conference play, Purdue's actually really relied more on a guy like Trey Kaufman-Renn or a game style that benefits him, where they're shooting a lot more two-point field goals. They're actually the number 1 two-point offense in the conference in terms of conference games, and they're scoring about 55% of their points via two-point field goals in Big Ten action. So I think Purdue, which is also number 1 in the conference in adjusted offensive efficiency, I think they kind of run away with this game. I think we've seen Iowa give up crooked numbers before. This could be very well one of those games. Now, Iowa has a solid offense. They've got plenty of shooters on their roster as well that can maybe keep up for a little bit in this one. But by the end of the game, I just don't think Iowa's going to have enough answers to be able to keep up and to be able to even just cover the spread, let alone win the game. So give me Purdue in this one. I'm going to lay the points on the road. Next up, we have Oklahoma State and Houston. This one is 8 p.m. Eastern on ESPN+. Now, I've mentioned I think the Cowboys have been a lot more competitive in the last couple of weeks than they were, say, at the very beginning of conference play. And more so on the offensive side, this was one of the weaker offenses in the conference. I think they've been a lot better. We saw them shoot about 40% from three-point range in their last win over Utah. They scored 81 points in that game. The problem is I don't like this matchup or spot for the Cowboys on the road against a Houston team that just suffered a loss against Texas Tech. Pretty painful loss as well in overtime by just 1 point. We've seen Houston, they've lost now 4 games this season. In their first 3 losses, the very next game, they bounced back in a big way with double-digit wins and a couple of blowout wins to go with it. The game over Louisiana, 91-45 after Houston had lost to Auburn, and the win over Butler in non-conference play, 79-51, the final score in that one after that loss to San Diego State in overtime. So I think we kind of see a similar result for Houston in this one. They're just a much better team playing at home, playing off of a loss. I think Oklahoma State, may be able to find a few stops here and there on the defensive side for a little while. But, I mean, this is an Oklahoma State team that gives up a lot of its points via three-point field goals, and they rank 271st in three-point defense. For Houston, that's exactly what you're looking for. Houston's the 5th best three-point shooting team in the country. I got to go Houston in this one and lay the points. Next up, it's Michigan State and UCLA. This one is 10 p.m. Eastern on Peacock. UCLA definitely playing its best basketball of the season. They're on a 5-game win streak. They've looked like a completely different team than they were when they were on that 4-game losing streak to start, to start the month of January, not necessarily start conference play. But UCLA now, I mean, their offense has been rolling. We've seen them score 75-plus points in 4 of their last 5 games, and of course, all those were wins. And, you could say they played a couple of weak teams, Iowa, Washington, USC's kind of middle of the pack, but they have the big wins over Wisconsin and most recently a rival in Oregon, 78-52, the blowout win in that one. I actually liked Oregon in that game, but UCLA, got to give them credit for how strong they played, how well they played in that ball game. And when you look at Michigan State, this is a team coming off a loss now against USC. They were on a huge win streak going up into that upset loss. And I do think they struggle a little bit to bounce back. I don't love their matchup here. Michigan State's had some issues at times taking care of the basketball in conference games. They're turning the ball over about 17.5% of the time. That's 13th ranked in the conference. UCLA, a very aggressive defense that forces turnovers about 24% of their possessions. That's 5th best in the nation. If they can win the turnover battle in a big way here, I think it leads to another big win. And because of Michigan State's record and 18-3 overall, 9-1 in conference play, somehow we're actually able to get UCLA, who's on a 5-game win streak, at a reasonable price. If it was other teams in this conference, say the next game for UCLA against Penn State, I don't think there'd be much value there, but we're still getting pretty good price and good value with UCLA here. So give me the Bruins at home. I'm gonna lay the points. And the final game we're going to talk about for the Tuesday card in college basketball, it's going to be Arizona State hosting Kansas State. This one's also 10 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be on ESPN+. I got to fade Kansas State in this one. This is as clear of a letdown spot as you could get in college basketball. I mean, you're coming off not only the outright upset win, but the blowout outright upset win over Iowa State. You're on a 3-game win streak, and you just took down Iowa State as a 16-point dog or so on the road, which we rarely see Iowa State lose home games where they're that big of a favorite. You tip your cap to the Wildcats, but like I said, with the SEC, you'll see teams win a huge game one night and the very next night lose to a team that they should beat. I think it's going to be the situation here with Kansas State. They're on a 3-game win streak. They're a little bit overvalued. This is a really cheap price with the home team in Arizona State. I think these teams are pretty much even. I do give the slight advantage to Arizona State, added home court advantage, and we're getting a great price with the Sun Devils laying less than 3 points right now. We'll see where the line goes, but I would imagine the public going to be looking towards Kansas State after that big win over Iowa State. I'm going the other way. Give me Arizona State in this one. And that's it. Those are the games for Tuesday in college basketball. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. And if you're looking for my best bets, including that top play in college basketball, my bank shop best bet, you can find those at Pickdawgz Premium, and there is a link in the description. As always, this is Romanelli. Good luck.